Lara carries the scars of Yamatai with her wherever she goes. Her new character model literally reflects battle wounds she received during the last game, but many of Lara's scars are actually psychological. When Crystal Dynamics revealed Rise of the Tomb Raider last year during Microsoft's E3 press conference, it showed a trailer of Lara fidgeting on a therapist's couch. This scene won't necessarily appear in the game, but it is an accurate representation of Lara's psychological state. On Yamatai, Lara experienced things that still haunt her. She was forced to kill in order to protect herself and her loved ones, and that kind of ordeal makes it hard to reintegrate back into normal society.
There was this crazy man, Roth, and a dead body.
Oh, God. Where are you now, Lara? Are you safe?
It was so horrible. It's all my fault. This is all my fault.
Lara, listen to me.
She's being called crazy as much as she is crazy, says Hughes. People think she's crazier than she is. If you came back and start talking about an immortal being and the secrets on worshiping cult, that's a tough pill to swallow. So Lara feels like an outsider in the real world. Her next expedition is a way of dealing with the trauma she's been through, but it's also a way of finding peace by chasing any shred of evidence that what she saw was real. On Yamatai, Lara saw something that she'll never forget, something that might easily drive someone crazy, an immortal soul. Lara saw a creature that had been alive for centuries, and she believes a discovery like that deserves to be studied more closely. Lara spends the year after Yamatai researching immortality myths, desperately trying to find some shred of evidence that lines up with what she saw. It doesn't take her long to stumble across the legend of the invisible city of Kitesh. As the legend goes, back in the early 13th century, the Grand Prince of Vladimir built an enlightened city deep in the frozen wilds of what is now Russia. Decades later, when an invading Mongolian army marched against the walls of the city, the army was surprised to find it had no military fortifications of any kind. Instead, many of the Kitesh's townfolk were quietly praying in the streets for salvation. Before the Mongolian army could even set foot in the town, it began to sink into a nearby lake, taking all of its treasures and secrets into the depths below. Remember I told you that Lara was going to be having issues, especially her mental state was going to be all out of whack because of what she saw over at Yamatai. I'm telling you, I think Himiko may still be very well much alive, or something. Maybe she made like a deal with the devil sort of thing, where there's maybe a higher force or a higher power that gave her the gift of immortality, and that's probably what Lara is after, trying to find out why Himiko had the power in the first place. Maybe somebody gave it to her, so who knows. But it's kind of interesting to know that Lara, hopefully she won't, but clearly she is putting herself in danger, and she's willing to do anything to get to the truth. There's also something else here that I want to share with you guys. Some might be surprised to hear that Square Enix plans to release Rise of the Tomb Raider on both the Xbox One and the Xbox 360, but Crystal Dynamics says it is sure that work on the 360 version won't limit the studio's development of the Xbox One version. In fact, an entirely different studio, Nix's Software, is handling the 360 port. We're wholly focused on Rise being an Xbox One title without limitation, without even thinking of the Xbox 360 version, says head of Western Studios Daryl Gallagher. At the same time, the Xbox 360's ecosystem is still super strong. There are millions of players out there who have an Xbox 360, and those console translations take time. So we did a test. Nexus put together a tech demo of Rise of the Tomb Raider content running on the Xbox 360, and we were totally blown away by what they achieved. But the existence of that game isn't limiting our work on the Xbox One version. I wouldn't be worried about Nix's working on the 360 port, because Nix's also worked on Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, and they also did the PS4 version of Tomb Raider, the Definitive Edition, and both of them looked really, really good, especially the PS4 version, obviously when the big news came out that it was running at 60 frames per second, and it looks magnificently beautiful. I'm telling you, it looks really good. So I wouldn't worry about it, what it looks like on the 360. If any features are probably missing off of the 360, the Connect features like voice command, or I know in the definitive edition of the Xbox One, you can actually grab the items with your hands and kind of turn them around and sort of stuff. So I think those kind of features are going to be missing from the 360 version. Either way, I'm getting them for both systems. I'm getting it for the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. So I'll get to see, really what the difference is. But I really doubt that it's going to be a huge difference. So I wouldn't worry about Nix's working on the 360 version. I'm sure it's going to be just as good as the Xbox One. Well, thanks you guys so much for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Also, keep an eye out for next week because the series does continue. There's actually, I think, 2 more pieces on it left, and I'll be happy to share all that information that comes with it. So, again, you guys, my name is Rox, and I'll see you guys next week.